Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here. We got some Bachelor content to get through. As you guys know, Katie Thurston, I'm going to call her Katie Moynes. Not yet. Will she take his last name? Who knows? Maybe not. Who really cares at this point? Katie Thurston said yes to Blake Moynes. Maybe it'll be Blake Thurston. Who knows? It's 2021. We'll get into it. Anyway, they're making their rounds in the media world. We're going to get right into it. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want bonus content, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal, where I give you the extra information y'all have been craving. Appreciate all the new supporters over there. All right, so they went on Bachelor Happy Hour, then they went and talked to Elizabeth Wagmeister from Variety, and I'll share some information where some people are thinking the boys of Katie's season are siding with Greg over their issues, which I think is hogwash, but we'll read about it. This is your space where we compile the different videos and clips and all that jazz. So anyway, let's jump right into it. This is Katie Thurston, Blake Moynes, and their conversation with the Bachelor Happy Hour.
This is one thing I wanted to say, going back to Katie, when you say, it's been hard to have everyone's opinions and you have to read about yourself right now. If I can give any bit of advice that I think is pretty solid, I don't give great advice all the time, but now that this is finally out in the open, you've lived out your love story for everybody to see, I would say put your phones away for a few days. Like, don't log in, don't go on social media, don't go on any forums, just literally tuck it under a pillow and let it sit there for a few days and just soak in time with each other, because it's so important to just build that solid foundation away from everyone's thoughts and opinions and criticism, because there's going to be some incredible stuff and so many well wishes coming your way. But of course, the harsh reality is, like, there's still trolls and haters out there that don't matter, but they're still going to say whatever they want. So just
She's so right. The trolls and haters don't matter, but they're out there. Kind of funny that Becca Kufrin's like, here's my opinion. Here's my advice to you guys. Put your cell phones away. You don't need to go start liking racist or problematic Instagram posts. Looking at you, Garrett. All right, moving along. By the way, has anyone watched F-Boy Island? There's a Garrett on there who's an F-Boy. What is it with Garretts being F-Boys? Tag me in some nice Garretts. We need to reclaim the name Garrett. All right, continue.
Just decompress, throw the phones down the toilet for a little bit if you have to, but really just soak in and enjoy the time together between the two of you, because that's all that matters at this point.
We're definitely planning on doing that, but we've also battled our fair share of trolls and all those things all along this way too, so I think we're well equipped now to just be like
literally. I will say, Caitlin also said the exact same advice like 2 days ago. It's like, any advice I can give you, don't look on your phones for like the next couple of days. And so to hear it from two bachelorettes, I'm like, okay, this is serious.
But at the same time, you guys are going to be so happy and like being able to like enjoy your time. And you're also going to be exhausted from all this stuff that you guys are doing, that you won't really want to be interested in that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You're always right in your world. You're right next to each other. That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't worry about
I love that.
Does anyone feel dumber from listening to this clip? You ever just get so sucked into Bachelor Nation, you're like, I think I'm literally an idiot now. I feel like an idiot. They say nice things, of course, pleasantries. What do you expect? They're all Skyping and Zooming in, and it's hard to have these conversations. It's really a product of the quarantine. I hope in-person interviews, there's just nothing better. But we accept this with a grain of salt. Now, Blake says, hey, look, bring it on, trolls and haters. We know how to deal with it. And good point. They can finally just it's sad that they all have bonded over a shared experience of dealing with haters online. I mean, Emily Moynes, Blake's mom, great lady, saw a comment yesterday. People were posting negative things on Emily Moynes' Instagram. I tell you what, I really need to start. I need to shart after watching this interview. I really soiled my pants. It was stupidity. No one's fault. It's the format. But I really do, aside from needing a shart, I really do need to start this show, a Troll Patrol, because I would love to just go up to these trolls and just knock on their doors. It has to be in person. You have to show up and be like, are you aware that you commented on a game show contestant's mom's Instagram, making fun of her son? And you just like show up with quotes and they're like, can we get your mom in here? And then you get the troll's parents in there, assuming that they're like probably young or live with their parents still, or even get the trolls' kids to be like, your mom and dad or your daughter wrote this on Instagram. We don't think that your son. It's like, really? It'd be fun. Troll Patrol, guys. Let me know what you think. Anyway, let's move on from there. So Emily Wagmeister is the go-to Elizabeth Wagmeister, the go-to correspondent for Variety. I've commended her for her interview skills with regards to the Colton Underwood situation. Let's see if she asks the heavy-hitting questions here as she talks with Katie and Blake.
What really surprised me during last night is that
terrible
your
audio.
Family didn't know that you were engaged, so they literally watched it as America was watching. What was their reaction? I assume that was one of your first phone calls after last night.
I mean, they knew we were together because I was, leaving so much to go secretly see him, but they didn't know at what level. And so they were very supportive. We're not a traditional family where I needed to make sure they had a heads up or have a serious conversation, which is why I was comfortable with them just finding out the same way that mostly both our families found out.
Now, just, as a point of, as an audience member here, Variety is the go-to magazine for all things entertainment. Entertainment being film and TV, sound. So the fact that Katie and Blake have professional audio and Elizabeth Wagmeister sounds like she's recording this in the atrium of a bank. I mean, it's beyond me. Can we get some echo-proof sound, folks? I'll come in there and mic you up.
Yeah. Now, what is next for you two in terms of location? Katie, I know there was some rumblings about San Diego.
Cute shirt, though.
Blake, you're in Canada. So where will the two of you settle down now?
I don't think we're settling down really anywhere. We've kind of agreed to live with each other, but chunks at a time, whether it's Canada, San Diego, he'll be in Africa at times. And so if I can join him, I will. And there's going to be times where we're apart, but we just have this freedom of kind of being able to hop around together. And I think that's probably what we'll do for the first year, at least.
Just in terms of lifestyle, do you two want to kind of take a step out of the spotlight and live a more normal life? Or do you want to really kind of stay in the entertainment industry together?
I don't think the entertainment industry is where we're headed. We have a lot of similar alignments in terms of where we're headed in life. And with, what he wants to do with his advocacy for the animals and the planet are things that also excite me and that I'm passionate about as well. So it's just really exciting to see kind of what projects we can work on and what kind of, education we can bring back to the people who follow us on social media and kind of give a new perspective that people maybe aren't totally exposed to in the moment.
The proposal was the biggest news of last night, but probably what got the most headlines was all of the drama surrounding the Greg storyline. So first, Blake, I need to get your take because we have not heard your thoughts on Greg. What do you think about his behavior throughout the ending of the season? And I'm curious, when was the first time that you saw it?
So I would have seen it right before I went on stage as well, right before the taping of After the Final Rose. I mean, listen, the way I look at it is, if that's the love of your life, you just don't talk to her like that. You just don't. You fight harder, and he didn't do that. There was talking down and things. It's hard because I try to put myself in that situation, right? That's how I try to judge, and I wouldn't have never approached it that way. So I just saw it as wrong. I grew up in a household where that type of behavior was a constant for 17 years. And I saw what that can do to my mom in that case. And so it triggered me a little bit. It reminded me of a kind of brutal past to some degree.
So what Blake's referencing here, I interviewed Emily Moynes on my podcast. Emily had a very amicable divorce from Blake's dad. Okay, that's they still have a kind of a decent relationship there. I don't mean to speak out of line, but this is what I'm referencing, the interview I did with Emily. With Emily's new husband, who she has since divorced, there was financial abuse. He kind of kept her from being able to access the funds, a lot of manipulation happening. And so Blake was able to grow up with a stepdad and see the toxicity there, which honestly, as much as it stinks to have that trauma, a lot of times I think while the trauma can get passed down on you, if you're able to kind of separate yourself from it, you can see, like, I don't want to communicate like this. Take my parents, for example. My mom and my stepdad, they're great people, but, like, they don't know how to communicate together. My stepdad is not an evolved communicator. He just isn't. So being able to grow up and see that, you go, I see that that's not productive. You know what I mean? I'm like a 13-year-old boy going, I don't feel like you guys are getting too far with this argument right now. You know why? Because I can hear it and I'm on a different floor of the house. Okay? If you can hear someone's full argument from a different floor of the house, chances are the decibel level is at the wrong place. Speaking of decibel levels, let's go back to Elizabeth Wagmeister's echoing. I don't blame her, but can we get you guys some better sound?
And so where I'll end this is that I hope, and Katie knows that she'll never have to hear that from me ever again.
Mm-hmm. Katie, did you watch back last night's after the final rose?
Yeah, it's tough because, I watched the episode initially right before seeing Greg. So those emotions are very fresh and Bachelor Nation hadn't seen it yet. And to have lived the week where everyone's talking about these conversations and realizing just how I had no idea how heavy this topic was going to be, regardless of whose, side you are or what your perspective was, given that it's been a week of listening and understanding, I think, all I can do is support Greg and his journey for healing, and whatever it is that he's going through. And I did come down hard, and I did have a lot of anger. And if I have the opportunity to talk to someone who hurt me, I'm going to. But, going forward, I'm just excited for everybody to take something from it and learn and just move forward.
I have to get your take, though. Do you think that he was acting?
No.
It's hard to say. I mean, I can speculate all day, but at this point, I don't really care to have an opinion if he was or if he wasn't. He was in acting school. Take that for what you want.
Blake is checked out. Look at Blake's eyes.
It helped both of us make the right decision in terms of him leaving and me staying. And, I ended up with exactly who I'm supposed to be with.
Here we go. Hungry.
And have you spoken to Greg since after the final rose? Because I know that was taped recently, but it wasn't live last night.
Correct. No, I have not reached out to him.
You didn't even bother to say goodbye? You say you love me. I don't think you know what love is.
Yikes. Good riddance. We're here now with Blake. So let's
close the door.
Good
moving
riddance.
forward.
Yeah, goodbye and good luck, as my grandma says. That's where things lie.
Goodbye and good luck.
When you watch the show, we're obviously not living it, but we see, with Katie, you go from Greg with emotions running high and then to Blake and realizing that is the love of your life. Can you kind of explain what it is like being in this vacuum of this show and how that may impact your emotions?
Yeah, I mean, you have all distractions removed and all you can do every single day is focus on the relationship. And I've been very open from the very beginning that, I do fall in love more than once. I do think that's possible. And it wasn't until towards the end that I really had to start comparing the men, whereas I didn't do that before. I kind of kept every relationship individual. Every guy had something different to offer. What people need to remember is there's only so much you can see. People, for example, question Justin being there. And it's really unfortunate because there is a reason he was there, but when you have 2 hours each week, there's only so much you can show. And that's what people need to focus on is like, you might not understand how I can love Blake, but there's just so much that you didn't get to see, unfortunately.
The first time I went on, it was for, trying out the show and this experience. And that was Claire. And then Tayshia came in. And again, you tried to separate the two, which is very hard to do in a short period of time. And so that's why you saw a very slow transition with Tayshia, which really didn't amount to much. Leading up to, coming and making a decision, well, should I go to Paradise? Like, I really was into Katie, as you heard on podcasts, all that kind of stuff. There's no way I'm going on to do this Bachelorette thing again. Like, it's not that fun. It's really not. But leading towards us, like,
tell Greg that.
It's going to pull the trigger. Like, getting uncomfortable is where you find the most growth. And the best things come from being uncomfortable. I was like, I believe in this. Like, let's just see how this goes. Let's just meet her and see how it goes. And I'm so glad I trusted my gut and fighting for someone I really had a good intuition for, because now we're sitting right here.
There they are. Dancing. Stereos. The prop stereos. Very nice, folks. Very nice. All right, there you have it. That's the variety interview. Elizabeth Wagmeister talking with Blake Moynes and Katie Thurston. All right, we learned a few things there. Elizabeth says goodbye and good luck to Greg. Of course, Elizabeth said, have you talked with Greg? And she said, I haven't reached out to him. So that doesn't mean he didn't reach out to her. But who knows? As you guys know, I just recapped the Nick Viall interview with Greg Grippo, which, Greg apologized for very specifically putting his needs ahead of hers. And if you didn't watch that interview, I'm pretty sure you probably did. But Greg said, you know what? To accuse me of acting would have been far better than what you saw of me on the screen. In that, I mean, if you're acting, it's like you're playing a part. But if that's your real soul and your own neediness and your real issues, that's a lot worse. And he says, you saw the real deal. All right. Anyhow, folks. So there's some people online saying that the bros of the season are siding with Greg, over Katie. The producers, there's been this thought all season that the producers didn't like Katie. You know what? That could be true. It could be that the producers had a hard time dealing with Katie, and that's okay. The only thing that matters is if Katie found the guy at the end. So far, so good. You know, if she was a pill to work with for certain reasons, good. The last thing you want is to give the keys to your life to these producers. No offense, producers. You kind of don't have a great track record with what you do with these people, okay? So good for her for standing up for herself. So Greg Grippo posted a photo that says, "On to the next chapter." Justin Glay says these boots were made for walk-in, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna get therapy and find out your problems and resolve them so you don't hit them again. That's a new song that came out on Spotify. Greg. So anyway, the Connor, if you can't beat him, denim, if you can't beat him, unbutton your shirt. Michael A., don't look back in anger. I heard you say, there goes that man, the other Connor. So anyway, look, they all became buddies. You can be buddies with someone that went through a bad breakup. You can be buddies with someone who's got their own toxic issues. Best case scenario, you help guide them through it so they can be better versions of themselves. Best case scenario, we don't know what's going on over there. But to say that they're siding with him over her, you know, like some said in the comments section, it would be very tricky for them to start like commenting on Katie's post. Like, she just got engaged, let her go, let her do her thing, you know, whatever. What else did people say? Nat Too Shabby apparently is a Bachelorette producer. So people were like, well, the producers are liking Greg's hogwash. Who cares? The point is, Katie's the one who was exposed. She's the one who felt her pain. She dealt with it. Thomas Jacobs confirmation citing Bigfoot is definitely real. So, you know, come on, typical Instagram, a bunch of inside jokes, this and that. Thomas might be a front runner for the next season of Bachelor. Maybe if we have time today in a future video, I'll show the clips of his deleted scenes. Look, Thomas ain't that bad, folks. From what we've seen so far, he's going to have his time on Bachelor in Paradise. If it doesn't end well, we might just see him as the next Bachelor. And I think Thomas, the tank engine, might be riding the rails to Bachelor Nation. I don't know if does any of this make sense anymore? All right, so finally, on a high note here, this is what Katie tweeted today. Family group chat with Aunt Lindsay. And I believe this to be real, although this could have been fabricated. I believe this to be real. These are text messages from Aunt Lindsay in the group chat. Oh, you got to love a good family group chat. Is it Lindsay? It is Lindsay. She said, I legit feel like I owe this kid an apology. Did I F him up so bad you had to take him to an energy healer? Then Sam, I don't know who Sam is, says, he handled you and still liked Katie afterwards. That's good. Don't apologize for being yourself. You asked serious questions that needed to be asked. Plus, out of all the guys, he seemed like the one who could handle our family. So time for Blake to head over to Katie's family and clink a drink. Do yourself a favor and clink your finger onto the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are fast approaching 40,000 subscribers. And I've got some new content I've been working on over on Instagram. So go to @DNeals on Instagram and check out what I've got going on. Lots of other content coming out. Thank you guys so much for all the positive comments. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye now.